Trump just raised Canadian steel and aluminum tariffs to 50% in retaliation for Ontario energy duties. And did you know that the United States imports most of its lumber from Canada? In 2021, Canada provided $28 billion of lumber to the U.S., which was almost half of all the U.S. lumber imports. Why? We just can't grow that type of wood here in America. We just don't have the abundance of it, so we need Canada's wood. So once they start adding duties and tariffs to the lumber, well, the cost of building a home is going to go up and up and up, and all the other things we make out of lumber. So thank you, President Trump.
We have breaking news right now. Canada has confirmed retaliatory tariffs are still in place. These are the same retaliatory tariffs that they were going to impose a month ago, but now they are actually likely to go through with it after Donald Trump announced 25% tariffs are coming tomorrow, and there's nothing Canada can do to stop it. According to the Foreign Affairs Minister, Melanie Joly says that Canada is prepared for a trade war with the United States, and that the tariffs that they will impose include $30 billion in U.S. goods in the immediate term, and then a second round of tariffs valued at about $125 billion about 21 days later, 3 weeks later. Joly pointed out, saying, quote, "We're not looking for this. We're not seeking this. But Canada is prepared for a trade war with the United States if Donald Trump actually goes through with these tariffs." And all signs point to yes this time around after he says that there's nothing Canada or Mexico can do. Now, I did a full breakdown of what is going to be impacted. Canadian goods, American goods, on my Substack. It's free. Go check it out. Link in bio. As always, comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along for all the news you need to know about. We have some breaking news right now. Both Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are not having a good time right now as Blue Sky continues to surge and they can't really do anything to combat it. Blue Sky now has more than 21 million active users.
The most insane trade war has officially begun because Canada, Mexico, and China are pissed and have now all announced their own plans on how to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. So what the hell is going on? Well, you see, yesterday Trump's promised 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China officially kicked in. What that means is that any goods sent from these countries to the United States will now cost companies 25% more, or 10% in China's case. So for example, if a Canadian business sent a car to the US that cost $50,000, today US companies will pay a $12,500 tariff at the border. So the price of your once $50,000 car is now actually $62,500. Why would Trump purposefully make things more expensive for Americans? Well, two main reasons. The first is more of a longer-term, unguaranteed benefit, but it would be to change consumer habits to buy more American-made products and incentivize more international companies to manufacture in the U.S. In theory, that means a stronger U.S. economy, more stable jobs, and less dependence on foreign countries. The second reason for imposing these tariffs would be to use them as a tool to pressure Canada, Mexico, and China into doing what Trump wants. Some of these things that he's publicly mentioned include renegotiating trade deals, stopping illegal immigration, and the flow of fentanyl. There's also the far-fetched idea of Canada becoming a state of America. But here's where things get interesting, because instead of just doing what Trump wants, Canada has clapped back with a 25% tariff of their own, and Mexico said they're doing the same but haven't announced the percentage yet. China reacted a little differently by preparing to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. So why is Trump not backing down? Just listen to this. In 2023, Canada sent 76% of all of their exports to the United States. That accounts for roughly 19% of their entire GDP. In 2024, Mexico sent 78% of all of their exports to the United States. That makes up 37% of their entire GDP. But for America, their exports to both countries combined only make up roughly 2.7% of their entire GDP. So simply put, even if they do retaliate, getting into a tariff war with the United States would hit Canada and Mexico much harder. Trump knows this, and he's using it.
So, Trump, you see where I got this from, right? You see right here, this is where I got it from. Based on Ontario, Canada placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming to the United States, I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada. Y'all about to not have no power. Y'all are about to not have no power because Dumpy Pants does not give a fuck about y'all. Only thing he cares about is winning. So he is trying to win this war that he has created with our allies and now the American people in these states that have electricity coming from Canada are about to not have their power. And he's not going to give a fuck. You know what he's going to do? Raise the tariffs to 75%. That's what he's going to do. 100%. Because, like, bro, really? Really, bro?
So let the trade war continue. Just when we thought matters couldn't get no worse than what they already is, boy, was I wrong. Come on, sip a little tea with Auntie, let's talk about it. So as y'all all know, Donald Trump put a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, right? Well, Canada, Ontario, who supplies electricity to 3 big states in the United States, Michigan, Minnesota, as well as New York, decided to put a 25% tariff on all electricity coming into the United States, which means that people in those states could see energy bills $100 higher than what they've been seeing thus far. It can go up. Well, Donald Trump decided to say, well, if Canada wants to do that, we're going to trump that. We're going to put 50%, add an additional 25% that was already in place, to 50% against Canadian goods. Y'all just know how this is going to, listening to both sides go back and forth, it's tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat. And it's affecting the people in the United States and the people in Canada, and they just not seeming to see, you know, what the bigger picture, what they have going on. It's like a tug of war, back and forth. You started, I'm gonna finish. You started, I'm gonna finish. And it's absolutely positively crazy. The United States is headed for a recession, and Donald Trump around here worrying about buying a Tesla car. Ooh, y'all, these are topics that I get so tired of speaking on. I promise you. Prayers for the United States, prayer for Canada people as well. Thank y'all for sipping a little more tea with Auntie. Bye, y'all.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump recently called for a boycott of Chinese products as part of his ongoing stance in the U.S. and China trade war. However, in an ironic twist, Chinese manufacturers have started producing and selling T-shirts featuring the slogan, "Boycott China, Make America Great Again," and they are being sold to American consumers. The move highlights the complexities of global trade, where even anti-China sentiments can be turned into business opportunities for Chinese factories. Reports indicate that these T-shirts are being produced at low costs in China and then exported to the U.S. through online marketplaces. Critics argue that this situation underscores America's deep dependence on Chinese supply chains, making a full-fledged boycott nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Chinese sellers are capitalizing on the controversy, proving that, in trade, business always finds a way, as tensions between the U.S. and China continue to escalate. This ironic development raises questions about the effectiveness of trade boycotts in a highly interconnected global economy.
Thanks to Trump, we are now in a full-blown trade war, a war that we will easily win. Canada just announced 25% tariffs on certain U.S. goods. China announced a 15% tariffs on U.S. agricultural goods, and Mexico will respond with tariffs on Sunday. Well, our tariffs hurt them a hell of a lot more than their tariffs hurt us. 30% of Canada's economy and 40% of the Mexican economy is dependent on exports to the U.S. Meanwhile, only 2.3% of the U.S. economy is dependent on exports to them. They are searching for more ways to hurt us. The Premier of Ontario, who provides electricity to multiple northern states, is threatening to increase costs and even shut off electricity to some U.S. homeowners. Trump has said the U.S. will respond to retaliations with even more tariffs, so they better be careful. But what's the point of sowing chaos with our peaceful neighbors? We want companies to build in America, the fentanyl to stop pouring into our country, and for those countries to buy more American goods. Less than 1% of our fentanyl comes from Canada. Mexico has already deployed troops at their border to assist. The reason companies don't build here is because it's like 3 times more expensive, and Mexican and Canadians are going to want to buy American products even less now that we're putting their economies in a free fall. Becoming more economically independent is necessary for our future. Destroying the house of your neighbors does not increase your property value. Never use analogies again, Bob.
I think it'd be hysterical to sue Donald Trump, specifically as a class action of people from states impacted by this increased energy cost. It's estimated by Doug Ford to be an average of $100 per month per American household in states impacted by the Ontario energy export fee. This guy ran on the premise of lowering costs for the American people. So if there was a class action lawsuit that got enough attention to like be discussed in the news, that was filed on the premises of this guy unnecessarily raising energy costs by $100 per family per month because he decided to just like play stupid games and win stupid prizes. I think that would be really entertaining. I'm not a lawyer. I work in the sciences. I don't really know a whole lot about how the legal field works unless you're talking specifically about research contracts. So if a lawyer wants to add any insight into this, it'd be much appreciated. Like, if this is at all feasible, I'm really tempted. I think it'd be really funny.
Canada's Liberal Party has just elected a new leader, a banker named Mark Carney, to replace outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The vote came in the middle of a trade war and frequent bombastic threats against Canada from President Donald Trump. And it was those threats and Carney's pushback against them that caused a huge polling boost for the Liberal Party, which helped Carney ride to victory tonight. And he had these strong words for Trump and the U.S. at his victory rally just moments ago. Take a listen.
Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. And we won't. We won't.
Now, Trudeau has served as the leader of Canada's Liberal Party for 11 years and the country's prime minister for 9.
Let me tell you who wins a trade war. Nobody wins a trade war. It is losses all around. And that is why you see the markets fall anytime some more tariffs come into play. Here we have an additional 25% tariff to 50% tariff on steel and aluminum coming into the U.S. As I've explained before, as everybody has explained, this is not paid for by Canada. This is passed on to consumers. This will cause inflation. This will increase the price of housing. This will increase the price of cars. And why is he doing it? It is in retaliation for quote-unquote electricity. Why it's in quotes is a mystery to me. Electricity surcharges being put on electricity exported from Ontario into several northern states. So, and why was that put on? That was put on in response to tariffs put on Canada. So it's this endless cycle of increasing tariffs, driving up costs to everyone, costing everybody money, decreasing the wealth of both countries, enriching no one. And tariff wars the next administration just can't fix this. Tariff wars take decades to unwind. The Smoot-Hawley tariffs from the 20s, 30s, it took about 50 years, 5 decades to unwind the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. So, I don't even know what to say. It is ignorant. It is stupid. It ignores decades and decades of scholarship that shows that tariffs are not effective at anything other than making all countries and individuals involved poorer. So, while this is in response to quote-unquote electricity coming in, it's just part of a never-ending cycle that is going to make all of us poorer.